Good morning and salutations, Monarchs.
I'm Sawyer.
And I'm John.
And welcome to episode 1 of
The Monarch Post.
The Monarch Post releases monthly. We'll be showing our staff's top stories like a trip to Mount Whitney,
Some information about a nearby animal shelter and how they're helping out feral animals.
and some community and school news.
All that and more on the other side of the intro. Members of Monarch Media have been hard at work learning the foundations of journalism, like finding stories, filming interviews, writing copy, and recording B-roll.
The catch is that we publish our homework for anyone to see.
And that's what you are all watching right now.
Our homework.
So let's kick this off with a story from downtown Redlands.
The historic downtown area is one of the highlights of Redlands. It's filled with local businesses and eateries.
And one of those businesses hopes to inspire a childlike joy in all of us. Let's turn to Nico and Connor with the story.
In nowadays society, kids usually spend a lot of time on screen. But small organizations like Jack's Toy Shop are here to better the community, one toy at a time.
Background of the store was I had opened a children's shoe store and a toy store. When the shoe store wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do, we ended up switching it over to toys about 10 years ago. Our goals right now is to become part of our community and to continue to do what we've been doing, which is selling toys and creating memories for kids and families here in Redlands.
But their toys aren't just for fun. They actually help better the lives of the people who have them. Just like Isaac Brown, a kid who just learned the true meaning of fun ever since he got his hands on the toy.
I bought the kinetic sand and I bought it to build houses and use my imagination and creativity. But outside the set, I can use my imagination to play in different ways. It warms my heart to know that other people have fun with toys like these.
The workers at Jack's Toy Shop don't only believe that kids need to be little to play with toys.
I think toys are like the building blocks of creativity. I think that in order to be a creative person, you need opportunities to express yourself during attend play. You need opportunities to create with art. So I think it's really important building blocks to start with. I think kids of all ages should play with toys because it is fun. That is the biggest reason why it's a lot of fun. We try to have stuff here for kids and kids at heart.
This is Nicholas Brown from More Media in Redlands, California, signing off.
Great job, Nico and Connor. That was Nico's little brother in the interviews.
It was great seeing the joy he approaches his games with.
Sure was. Now, Board Game Paradise is located right next door to Jack's Toy Shop, and it hosts regular meetups for tabletop gamers.
And both shops are located near Ed Hale Park, which will soon be decorated with the Redlands Christmas tree for the holidays. Prior to COVID, Ed Hale's Park and the surrounding area would be filled with farmers and vendors.
I loved Market Night. I was sad to see it go away during quarantine.
Well, it is resurrected on Saturdays as Market Morning. Julio and Jimmy have the story.
This is the downtown Redlands Farmers Market. It is an amazing farmers market. The customers are always super nice here. We've got lots of great vendors. I get a lot of my produce here, so I love to come here and just check out all of the vendors myself. And like I said, it's a really great community event.
Okay, my name is Monique. I've been a long-time resident of Redlands. I actually graduated from Redlands High School, so I've been coming to the market for a while now, and so when it's on State Street and everything, so I recommend it to everybody because I have a little bit of everything. I like the fresh produce that comes from all the local farms. Everything is local and it's fresh, and so you know that what you're getting is quality here.
I started in the farming because I want my kids to see where their food came from. We need a next generation of farmers. So your generation before you and after you, we need more of you to get involved in agriculture and farming. I love this farmers market. I love this farmers market because of the people. So we have a lot of customers, repeat customers. There's a lot of people that come back, and I've actually become friends with quite a few people from here. and I've done some collaborations. I love Redlands in general, even though our farm is in California. My children go to school combined. I just like the atmosphere here.
Actually, maybe that's something now.
Oh yeah.
Heading east on Redlands Boulevard from downtown, you will eventually end up on the 10 freeway. And Yucaipa Boulevard is only 2 exits up that freeway, maybe a 10-minute drive from downtown. On the boulevard, near the turnoff for Craft and Ales College, you can find the Yucaipa Animal Placement Society. The staff there are dedicated to improving the lives of animals in our community.
Just a 10-minute drive away from Moore, a local animal rescue works hard to change the life of animal lovers and their pets.
Our mission is to prevent the euthanasia of dogs and cats throughout the region by providing them a temporary safe haven until a permanent and loving home can be found.
And that would be Mr. Ash.
Kristen Speak, YAPS' very own intake coordinator, shares her inspiration for working at YAPS.
I liked the idea of working somewhere where I was giving back. I usually give back in other tasks and other employment. I've always given back to people, and this time I'm giving back to animals.
Krista Dunlop explains how she loves making a difference in not just animals, but people's lives while working at YAPS.
I love that I get to make a difference not only for animals in the community, but for people in the community and animal lovers, because I get to be very much with a like-minded group of individuals, which is really special and unique to what we do as a nonprofit rescue. And I get to help people that have questions or are looking for a new companion or steer them in the right direction for their own pets to help keep those pets in the home.
Kristen Speak talks about the more emotional aspect of working at YAPS.
So every day is different. There's ups and downs. Just, we're working with animals who have some sad stories. So sometimes we have to deal with the sad stuff. And then most of the time it's happy. We get to see them happy when they go to their new homes. So working here is a roller coaster of emotions, but most of those emotions are happy.
YAPS' very own Krista Dunlop talks about YAPS' no-kill mission.
Yeah, so the no-kill rule is that any pet that comes within our facility at YAPS is not euthanized unless it's for humane purposes or deemed behaviorally unable to be adopted out, like if they're a public health risk. And so what's nice about that rule is that any animals that we're taking into YAPS, we have an indefinite amount of time to work with them and rehabilitate them. If they're behavioral, if they have medical issues or anything like that is going on, we can do what we need to do to give them the best chance at a forever home without the pressure of numbers coming in. We don't have a deadline for the amount of time that we care for an animal here at YAPS.
I'm Sawyer Strout, reporting for More Media.
Sawyer, your team created that story. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Well, Claire's mom works at YAPS. She was one of the women interviewed. So Claire, Issa, and I sometimes go to YAPS just to see the animals.
Sounds like a great time.
It is. In the media business, you need to keep a list of leads and contacts to help you find stories. We know Claire's mom, so that helped us come up with an idea to make a story about YAPS.
Actually, I had a pretty direct contact for my story. Nicholas and Zachary were on my crew, and they happened to have a trip planned to Mount Whitney. So we sent them up with a GoPro and a vlogging camera, but we will get to that after the break.
Let peace prevail on earth. This quote can be found on a pole in Moore Middle School quad. During lunch, groups of students can be found sitting in the shade around this structure.
I like that the pool has different languages on it.
Those languages are English, Spanish, Shirano, and Korean. One language per side. Peace poles like this can be found throughout the world, spreading an important message.
Okay, and why do you think the peace pole is here?
To remind us to have peace and be kind.
Moore's Peace Pole was dedicated in November 2014 by former Principal Jamie Courts. In his dedication speech, he stated, "We hope that those that walk these halls will be inspired by hope and kindness." 10 years later, it is great to know that That message is still being heard. Let peace prevail on earth. This is Ryan Knowles reporting for Monarch Media.
Hello, it's 2:30 in the morning. We just slept in our truck and we're starting our hike.
On October 10th, our staff members, Zachary and Nicholas Jones, attempted to hike up Mount Whitney, the highest point in the lower 48 states. Mount Whitney is a 21.5-mile round-trip hike. You must obtain a hiking permit, no mountaineering skills required, and the greatest risk of all is altitude sickness. The hike to and from the peak of Mount Whitney takes about 14 hours. The 12-mile-long trail climbs from 8,000 to over 14,000 feet. For these reasons, the Jones started the hike several hours before sunrise so that they would return to camp before sunset. It would not be good to be near the peak of Mount Whitney in the dark.
So we're about a third of the way now, and we're feeling pretty good, and hopefully we'll make it to the top.
Hey guys, we're a third of the way there at Outpost Camp. Doing well.
The hike was not all crossing rivers over logs. Due to the insane altitude of Mount Whitney.
So we had to go because of illness, but we made it 6 miles up and we have to go 6 miles down now.
And the trail gets a little rocky. You can't just pack up and go home.
About 5 miles in, I started hallucinating and my head started hurting, and it would have been dangerous to move on, so I made the call that we had to go back.
It was pretty hard, it was a little sad, but I knew Nicholas was doing his best, and altitude sickness is something you really can't. If you keep going, then it can be really dangerous, and we just didn't want to take that risk.
Even going downhill, it was like really tough, even because it was like 6 miles and I had altitude sickness, so that was really hard on my body.
We hope to go back and conquer the peak and train a little harder because now we know what we're up against.
Although a valiant effort, Zachary and Nicholas were not able to reach the peak of Mount Whitney, but they go on with a positive outlook. This is John O'Brien with More Media, signing off. Altitude sickness can be scary, but Nick and Zach are young and they recover fast. They actually went to the Kimberly campout the same day they got back from the trip.
That's a lot of camping. You know, we hear about Mount Whitney plenty growing up in California, but it's not often you try to see someone hike to the top of it.
They're actually planning to try again in a year or two. If at first you don't succeed,
Try again. Moving along, you know, as a student media program, it can be challenging to cover our sports results in a timely fashion. Often the games are on a Thursday and we release on Friday. So we thought it'd be a good idea to do a season wrap on our monthly show. The softball season is currently underway, so we'll cover that in our next episode.
let's hand it over to Sarai to report on the volleyball season from first quarter.
Both Moore Monarch volleyball teams had a very successful season. As the first quarter sport, the first game was held on September 17th after a delay due to the line fire. This game was a home game against Cope, which offered a great opportunity for our school community to come out and support the Moore Monarch team. Our girls team won that game. They went on to finish the season with 4 wins and 2 losses. Both losses were suffered at the hands of Beatty Bobcats, who took first place in the league. Our girls placed second after losing in the finals to Beatty on October 3rd. Our boys team also won that first home game against Cope. The Cope Eagles are the only team that our Monarchs faced twice in the qualifiers. Our boys won one of those games and lost one. They faced Cope a third time in the finals, where they lost 2-1. So Cope took first place and Moore placed second in the boys' league. Congratulations to both teams for their successful season, and a special shout out to our 8th graders who played on the volleyball team all 3 seasons. Our middle school sports are volleyball, softball, soccer, and basketball. If you are interested in playing any of the remaining sports, make sure to get your athletic packet in and keep your grades up to ensure that you are academically eligible. This is Sarai Simmons reporting for More Media.
Thanks for tuning in. This is John,
And Sawyer.
signing off.
And remember to show effort
Kindness
and respect.
and go Monarchs.